Do you think jokes about the Titanic submarine are in bad taste? Why or why not? Serious. Attention. Serious. Tag notice. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment. Parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour. And posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot. And this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Of course. Those people are stuck in a small tube knowing their air is running out and there is no escape. I can't think of a worse nightmare. No. The pilot was a fucking moron and anyone that believed him, I'm sorry, is a short-sighted idiot. I feel bad for the 15-19-year-old. That's the only actual tragedy. Objectively speaking, I know the answer is yes. A life is a life. No matter what that life is like or what it did. But at the same time, by God, the jokes practically write themselves. This wasn't a freak accident like the Titanic or had a single identifiable point of failure like when Kobe's helicopter crashed. This was an absolute shit show of a situation on every possible level. And somehow, every new bit of information just makes the damn thing look worse and worse. A practically jerry-rigged submarine that was bolted shut. A single window that was one piece of scrap metal away from the iron lung. No navigation system. Only communication system was SMS. Controlled by a $30 off-brand PS5 controller. Made by a company that fired their safety manager for not greenlighting the Titan because its window was only approved for a fraction of the desired depth. Ran by a CEO who complained about safety regulations. And so much more. All of 10 minutes ago I learned that the CEO who again complained about his industry being too safe, actively chose against hiring people who have experience with submarines because 50-year-old white guys aren't inspiring. I mean seriously, what the fuck else are we supposed to do? One of the people on the submersible is a good friend of my wife's parents. I've never met the guy. But my wife has a bunch of times. He's the one who's been down to the Titanic 35 times before. I get it. I don't think he's a billionaire and rich people are still people with thoughts and feelings. But I also don't understand what the fuck he was doing on this thing. Some people just want that feeling of adventure. My in-laws say they're both devastated, but he always kind of lived his life on the edge. He was also in his 70s and had a good life. I feel bad for that 19-year-old. A lot of comments say that the jokes are a natural reaction. But it's just not applicable to a lot of people making these jokes. Many of them don't see it as sad or tragic in the first place. So it's not a defense mechanism against something horrific. There's no sympathy or empathy whatsoever. Gallows humor is a legitimate coping mechanism at both the individual and community level. See hilarious memes in the middle of a pandemic that killed millions of people. Plus the CEO was a twat who knew damn well his vessel wasn't safe and fired people who told him otherwise. He has no one else to blame. And congratulations US, Canadian, and Greenland taxpayers. We're providing the resources and footing the bill for the rescue mission. Bring on the jokes. Edit. Shameless plug for r. Thalassophobia and r. Submechanophobia. We definitely appreciate the sheer terror the occupants of that death trap must be experiencing. Doesn't make 'em any less responsible for their own decisions to take such a massive risk. FAFO. Not really. The CEO and pilot has made a lot of silly statements about safety that make this humorous. The occupants know the risks. It's sad, but no, the jokes aren't in bad taste. If they were research scientists or rescue workers or something, then it would absolutely be in bad taste. I think the absolute idiocy of the endeavor makes it fair game. It's like that missionary who got murked on North Sentinel Island. These 5 people paid 5 times the average person's annual salary to get into the JANKIEST-looking sub known to man and charge headfirst into the only place more dangerous than outer space. There were no emergency supplies or rations. No safety clearances on the equipment. Costs were cut on all corners. There was no tracking system in the vessel. No human waste management system. No vessel retrieval plan. I bet they don't even have fucking life jackets. There's no way to exit the vessel from the inside. So even if they did surface and are just lost in the ocean, they'll still suffocate. In this very specific situation, we aren't mocking the death of 5 people. We're mocking the death of 5 billionaires who were thwarted by their own hubris. I think it's bad taste to make fun of it. I also find it to be extremely bad taste that this sub has 24/7 coverage. And there's not been a damned thing on the news talking about the boat that was lost at sea with hundreds of people on it. Like, come on, man. Has there been any survivors found from the boat? Can't cover that some billionaires are trapped in a tin can. Like the fuck. I don't mind the humor. It's the focus I can't stomach. We're obsessed with shit like this while the real problems go unattended. I do think it's in bad taste. But I understand why people are making jokes as well. I think it's too far out of a normal person's experience to see someone who paid $250,000 to go into an unregulated vessel, to look on the wreckage of the Titanic from a screen, with the whole thing piloted with a $40 game controller with many bad reviews. It borders on satire, and is just absurd enough for a lot of people to not register that there are actual people going through something awful. Yeah, it's bad taste, but I like dark humor. Humor makes the darkness of life bearable. I mean, the jokes kind of write themselves at this point. The CEO is down there and he's the one that wanted to save money and skip some important steps. No, I don't think they're in bad taste. I also don't think they're jokes. I think we're at a point in society where the friction between regular people and the ultra-wealthy is fostering genuine hate. And I don't think it's unjustified. Why would the average man mourn the death of a billionaire taking a frivolous, expensive trip and having the hubris to ignore the risks? What I find kind of shitty is the resources being spent on this and the media attention vs the refugee ship that went down. Bad taste. Sure. But that's sometimes what makes it funny. People make jokes about terrible events all the time. Those on Twitter who are celebrating it though. Those are psychopaths. Nope. The rich aren't exempt from the Darwin Awards. Only one I feel bad for is the kid. Someone on Twitter commented that her father died in a high-profile mountaineering expedition, and said there were so many comments on the internet about how he deserved what happened to him. She said, "The families see those comments. It's been 20 years and it still hurts. That's all I need to know. No one thinks about the families. Not getting into the stepson who is milking it right now. Compassion, folks." I think it has to do with income. If a poor or middle-class person was somehow stuck down there, I'd be horrified and really hoping for them to pull through. But these people aren't poor or middle class. They're billionaires who paid more than I make in like 5 years to be down there. And it's going to cost them their lives. It's not quite irony, but it's close. Like none of us poor folk could even afford to be in the situation. The only reason they are going to die is because they had the money that put them there in the first place. So we average Joe folks laugh and make jokes about it. We like to see people who are above us, this time economically speaking, fall. It's funny. Is it in bad taste? Sure. But it's still funny.